Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's live stream. This is week 50, believe it or not, so a bit of a milestone for us really. So yeah, 50 lessons, which is cool. They're all on my YouTube channel, all the previous ones, so if you've missed any then please do go and check them out. But today we will obviously be pushing on with the sort of stuff we covered last week and getting on to some new stuff as well. So before we get started though, so just the usual reminders. So if you're on a device that has any notifications that might ping away, then please turn those things off. You know, emails, social media, that kind of thing. Let's have our undivided half an hour's guitar time. That's what we want. If there's any children watching, I'd suggest an adult in the room just to help guide things through a little bit. That's pretty much it, I think. So we'll just check our tuning to get going. So here's a bottom E string. So my guitar's in tune, so please just try and adjust your tuning pegs to sound the same if you haven't tuned it already. Okay, so here's our bottom E. And then A. D, and G, and then B, and finally our top E string. Okay, good. So that's our guitar in tune, or our guitars I should say. So whenever you tune your guitar, it's always worth strumming a couple of chords as well and just listening out. Do they sound right? If they sound off, one of your strings is out, most likely, assuming you're getting your chord shapes right. So for example, if we went with the G, strum it like that and say, okay, that sounds right, or C, or D, or any of them really. So, but it's always good practice because sometimes when we tune up, we can think we've got it right. Maybe we're using a tuner and we haven't noticed that the little flat signs come up or something like that, and whatever. One of the strings isn't quite right, so it's always worth just strumming a couple of chords. So if you watch guitarists playing live, or particularly if you see videos of guitarists from 20 or 30 years ago before tuners were quite so readily available, you'll probably hear them tuning up a little bit and maybe strumming the odd chord. And that kind of thing. So it's good to train the ears and know what's going on. So the other thing just watch out for as well is posture. Just to try not to let that guitar slide away from you like that. It's very tempting because you can see what you're doing. However, it does make it more difficult to play. So that's one thing. Try and keep an upward trajectory. It might occasionally dip down, but generally we want it to be at least level, if not slightly up. And we discussed before in previous videos, so I won't go over it again, but the different types of posture, so depending on what style you want to sort of specialise in. Okay, so last week the warm-up suggestion was exercise 17 from GuitarQuest 3, so country shakedown. So this is just a chords practice exercise really. And then the backing track, which is available on my YouTube channel, that has a lead guitar bit going on, not with the intention of putting you off as such, but just try, you know, if you're playing chords, typically you're going to have something else going on, because chords on their own aren't the most inspiring thing to hear or to listen to. So it might be you've got someone singing, or you've got someone playing lead guitar, or you've got another instrument going on or whatever. So, so yeah, kind of getting used to playing and holding that rhythm whilst there's other stuff going on. So that's how you should practice it when you're on your own. But for today, we're just going to go through the chord pattern as per exercise 17. So, just talking you through the chord shapes quickly. Hopefully, you are familiar with them now, but just in case, so G, this one we're going to go middle finger 6th string 3rd fret, which I'll note G. First finger goes 5th string 2nd fret for the B, and then we're going to put this 3rd finger down here on the 1st string at the 3rd fret, which is also a G. and we can strum all the strings. We have talked about moving this third finger over to the second string, which picks up the note D, and then our pinky finger goes on the first string, 3rd fret, which is the G again. So you can do that one or that one. Hopefully you can see the difference. So it's only a subtle thing. Both are completely fine. So whatever works for you. I'm going to go with this one because that's what's in the book. But you know, do whatever feels right for yourselves. Okay. So C is the next chord. 2nd string 1st fret with the 1st finger. 4th string 2nd with the middle finger, and then 5th string 3rd fret with the 3rd finger. And this one we strum from the 5th string, or at least aim to. As mentioned before, don't worry too much if you catch the 6th string, it's not the end of the world, just try and avoid it if possible. And then we've got D. So we go middle finger 1st string 2nd fret, which is our F sharp. The 1st finger goes 3rd string 2nd fret, which is the A. And our 3rd finger goes on the 2nd string 3rd fret, which is the D. And then we strum from the 4th string. So remembering that when we play a chord, we want the lowest note of the chord to be kind of the title note of the chord. So in the case of D, we want D to be the lowest note. And the lowest D we can get on the guitar is our 4th string, unless you retune. But we are not going to go down that route just yet, because that's a whole different thing to think about. So, okay, let's give it a go. So, exercise 17 on that G chord to begin with, or well, the first line, we're going to strum. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we strum and hold it for 4 beats. Do that for each chord, and as we get onto the second line, it goes a bit faster. So we've got strum on each beat in the first bar. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, then a 2-beat strum, and then change, and the same pattern again. Okay, that's the plan. Let's give it a go. So after 4, here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Strum again. Hold it for 4, 3, 4. Change to C. 2, 3, 4. And strum. Hold it for 4, 2, 3, 4 to D. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to G. 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go for the busier pattern on the second line. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Change to C. Hold 2. Change to D. 2. And we're going to finish single strum of G. Okay, good stuff. Give yourself a pat on the back if that went well. I think we might have played that a little bit quicker than we did last week or two. So yeah, if you find it easy, you can always do more strumming, you know, kind of do that kind of thing. And you could go faster, you know, just different ways to challenge yourself. Later in this book, we do talk about a really common strumming pattern that's definitely worth learning. So we will get onto that at some point. I think it's another 5 or 6 exercises further on. So it won't be today, but maybe in a few weeks. So okay, so let's move on from that. So we're going to go on to number 18 now. So we've covered this for a couple of weeks. It's quite a tricky one. Lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs to be, well, I say pull-offs, lots of hammer-ons actually. So remembering as we do the hammer-on, so for example when we do D to E in the first bar, sorry, we're going to play the D, and then we just push this first finger down, and hopefully you'll hear the sound of the E at the 2nd fret. If you don't, you're probably not pushing down quite fast enough or quite hard enough. So try it again and just give it a little bit more welly basically. The clues in the name are hammer-on, you know, it's like you're hammering the finger down. So yeah, and just a reminder as well, hammer-ons and pull-offs come under the collective umbrella name of slurs. So if you're more interested in classical playing, slurs might be the terminology that you hear, but for everybody else, and in classical as well to a certain extent, you'll hear hammer-ons and pull-offs would be the way it would normally be described. So, okay, so that should hopefully be okay. Just quickly, bar 5, this is probably the real tricky one. So you've got the A to the B, so we play the A, and then we're going to have to hammer the 3rd finger down to the B at the 4th fret. That's the difficult one. Try and hold that 1st finger down as you do it. You've got less to think about. It might feel a bit tricky initially, but you have got less to think about if you can hold it down. If you lift that finger off and then you've got to go back to the A, then obviously that 1st finger is kind of going off and on again. Whereas if we hold it down, it's just there, it's done. So yeah, that's what we want to aim for on that particular bit. So let's give it a go, see how you get on. Very best of luck. Take it nice and slow. So after 4, here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Change to the C. The tricky one, D, A to B. Okay, cool. Hopefully that made sense. Apologies, I put a wrong string in there somewhere. So yeah, hopefully I didn't put you off. The other thing to know is with hammer-ons, when you can increase the tempo, they do become a bit easier. So for example, if and this is a big if. Okay, so if you were to play it at this speed, kind of. Because you're moving the hammer-on finger faster, the sound, you know, there's more energy in the string at the time. You kind of have to not necessarily work less hard, but you that sound should come out a bit quicker. I haven't really talked about playing it faster, and the backing track isn't as fast as I just played it then. But if you wanted to try it, you know, with YouTube you can go on and adjust the speed, so you could try increasing it like to 1.25 or. You can actually, at the moment anyway, on YouTube, you can increase it to what I think it's a fraction like 5% increments. So try it if you're finding it easy. If you find it difficult, probably best not. So, but yeah, if it's okay, then it's worth trying it out and see how you get on. So, okay, let's move on. So that's number 18. We are going to turn the page and go on to page 14. Exercise 19. However, before we do that, we're just going to quickly recap these open string notes, but finding them around the 4th and the 5th frets. So remembering, we can find all the notes in various places across the fretboard. So E, top E, we can find that 2nd string 5th fret. The B, open 2nd string, we can find that 3rd string 4th fret. G, which is the open 3rd string normally, we can get that 4th string 5th fret. Open D, we can get 5th string 5th fret. And then the open A, we can get 6th string 5th fret. So, we covered this, well, mainly last week, and we started talking about this idea a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully it kind of makes sense if you're watching it now. If it doesn't, watch the last couple of videos and I go into it in a little bit more detail. You can't obviously get, I say obviously, maybe it's not obvious, but the 6th string, we can't find that anywhere else because that is the lowest note on the guitar. the only way you could possibly do that is if you had another string, like a 7th string, which some guitarists do. You know, some guitars do have 7 strings. They're quite unusual, quite uncommon, but they do exist. So, but in that instance, you'd have a 7th string which you couldn't find any lower either. So there's always a limit by whatever your lowest string is. So typically, as said in our case, at A, we can find that 6th string 5th fret, but any notes below that, we can't find anywhere else on the fretboard. Okay, so that's a little bit of explanation about that kind of thing. So let's have a go at number 19. So again, if I just talk you through it a little bit first. So as we see when we look at the first couple of notes, we've got D. It says to use the pinky finger, and we've got the string in the ring above it saying 5, so we know we're finding D on the 5th string 5th fret. And we've got E as normal, F sharp as normal, G with the pinky finger, again the string in the ring saying 4, so 4th string 5th fret. Then it repeats, all very similar, back to the D on the 5th string. Same kind of ideas. Okay, and then on the second line, same kind of thing. Got the G again, 4th string 5th fret, and then we've got an open B, and we're not finding that on the 3rd string 4th fret. We could in theory, but I felt like that was probably going to introduce, maybe a challenge that would just be a little step too far possibly. But again, if you want to try it, if you're feeling confident, go for it. You could go, you could do that, nothing wrong with that. But we know it's an open string based on the music because it's got the 0 next to the B. So, next bar then, so this 3rd bar on the 2nd line. We come back to the D's on the 5th string. Now they haven't got the string in a ring written above, however, because it's the same sort of idea as previously, typically you wouldn't keep reiterating that same information. I've made it fairly clear in this book because of the nature of this book, but if you're looking at a more general book, like just the music of someone in particular, they probably would only explain that once, and then expect you to kind of realise and do it the same way the next time it comes around. But anyway, so 3rd string, we get the A on the 3rd string 2nd fret, as you'd probably expect. B, we've got the 3 next to it this time. String in a ring above, so we know that's 3rd string 4th fret for the B. We've got C sharp, D, E's got the 4 next to it, so we know we're going to go 2nd string 5th fret. Then we go on to the 1st string notes, F sharp, G. So these are all notes you'd hopefully be familiar with. Just remember we're in the 2nd position, so we don't want to end up 2nd and 3rd fingers there. We want to stay 1st and 2nd. We come back down, so E again, 2nd string, and then B on the 3rd string 4th fret, down to the A there. And then the last line, same kind of ideas, so we're on the 3rd string. Oh, sorry, played the time wrong, so it's 1, 2, then 3, 4, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G. So the logic is the same the whole way through. So we're going to try and keep using, apart from the B on the 2nd string, in bar 6, 2nd line, 2nd bar. I think that's the only open string. Other than that, all of them are going to be found as fretted notes, or at least that is the idea. So remember as well, we've got the DCL coda, so when we get to the end, we're going to go back to the very beginning, and we play until we see the instruction saying da coda, so that's at the end of bar 7, and then we drop down and do that very final bar at the end there. So let's give it a go. We'll just take it nice and slow. You can go fingers or thumb. I can't remember what I did last week. I'll probably go thumb today, but yeah, choice is yours really. It's not really, that's not the focus of this particular exercise. So here we go. Okay, so 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So second line, 3, 4. open string here I missed. I was talking about it earlier. So third line. Back to the beginning, so 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Open B. Drop to the coda and that final D there at the end. So, good stuff. Give yourself a pat on the back if you manage to play along with that. Again, backing tracks are available, so always good to practice along with those. Help with the timing. Well, and getting the notes right. You know, hopefully you'd hear if something sounds a bit off anyway. So, okay, we're going to move on. So number 20. So this one, we're talking about playing in the third position. So remember when we started our GuitarQuest journey, everything was down here. We were in the first position, although I didn't really talk about it. It's just how you kind of start. And then we've just been playing in the second position, so we moved up. Our first finger was landing at the 2nd fret, and all the fingers then go one finger per fret after that. So third position, as you might guess, is the same thing again, but our first finger now lines up at the 3rd fret. So the thing to kind of watch out for, one of the challenges, is just to make sure that you follow that guideline, I suppose. So if you notice yourself, you know, you go to play a G in the third position, you should be using your first finger. So if you notice yourself dropping back into old familiar territory and using the 3rd finger, then just try and correct yourself and think, no, I can do that already, you know, because you can. If you've done all these lessons, then you should be able to play G like that fairly comfortably. So now it's just remapping the brain a little bit to find all these notes in different places again. So that's one of the challenges. So we've got 2 sharps. The other thing, if you see the blue box at the bottom of page 15, we've got a DS al coda, Das Segno al coda. So that is a musical instruction. So in fact, if I bring that music up onto the screen, just to make it clear. So this thing here, DS al coda. So when we see DC al coda, that tells us to go back to the beginning and play until we see the words da coda, or go to coda. DS, we go back to the Segno sign, which is this thing here. It looks a bit like a dollar sign. So when we get to the end of this bar here, we jump back to here, we play through this line, then we get our da coda instruction. So that takes us down to the coda, which is this funny symbol thing here, and we just play that line, and that takes us through to the end. So hopefully that sort of thing makes sense. The exercise itself is a little bit of a challenging one, I think, but you might find it easy. So you have to let me know after the lesson, you know, how have you found it. But I'll talk you through it. So from the start then, we've got a D using our 3rd finger. We're in 3rd position, remember, so that's going to be 5th string, 5th fret. Then we've got F sharp, open G, and then F sharp again. And then we basically play those notes again. On our right hand, I should say, we're going to move our fingers over a little bit. So we're going to go thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle. When it comes to learning this, if you find it difficult, maybe don't worry too much about the right hand to begin with. Try and get the notes down, try and get the tune and the timing stuff, and then add the right hand in. If you don't find the right hand aspect too challenging, then go for it straight away, because it's going to be something you're going to work on anyway. So, okay, So far then, bars 1 and 2. So we've got that, and then bar 3, really we just move our hand across, so we're going to get the third finger on the G, 4th string, 5th fret, then an open G. So we've got 2 Gs in a row but found in different places, and that's quite a common idea, and it's something to really watch out for in music. So yeah, 4th string, 3rd string, and then we get the D with our first finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret, then an open G. So with our right hand now we're going strings 4, 3, 2, 3, and then the last bar of that line, strings 4, 3 and 2, so G, G and D. So that first line then, we've got that's our tune, and largely it just kind of repeats after this, but with a few little variations. So as we go on to the second line, it starts off exactly the same. Exactly the same, then this bit's the same. Then here we've got 2 Ds rather than 1. So we're going to try and use our middle and index fingers there. Then we come back. So third line again, same as the first. Still the same. Now this bit, we're going to get the E, 2nd string, 5th fret, and this is the bit that you may find challenging. We're going to get the pinky finger down to the 2nd string, 5th. And we want to try and hold these other fingers in place. And we get those notes there. So I'll just play those last 2 bars of the third line. So you've got... So that's that. And then 4th line, we come back to the same as the first line. And this bit's the same. Now this ending again here, we're going to go E again. 2nd string, 5th fret, and then lift off and get the D. So again, a little bit more difficult. We want to try and keep this third finger down as well. And the reason for holding it down is it just gives us this extra bit of harmony within the song, which just the notes ring into each other. It makes it sound a lot nicer. So line 4, last 2 bars, we've got. Then we go DSL coda, so we go back to the beginning of the second line, we play that again, and then we come down onto the coda section, which is the last line, and this is a repeat of the penultimate line. So we have and then we just finish off with the D, 5th string, 5th fret. Okay, so it's one of those tunes, I think, that once you've got a feel for what's going on, most of it will hopefully be okay, but it's the last few notes of each line that change each time, so that's going to introduce a certain challenge anyway. Our hand, you know, we're moving, so we've got thumb on the 5th, then index on the 4th, middle finger on the 3rd. That's where it starts. It then moves across. So thumb to the 4th string, for example in bar 3, index on the 3rd and middle on the 2nd, stays there for a couple of bars, then it comes back. So this, we've got this kind of movement in the right hand going up and down the strings. So that's another thing to watch out for. Very common, so just try and do your best with it really. So I'm going to play it to you now. I'll count us in. Feel free obviously to try and play along with it. And then we'll put the track on so you can have a listen to how it's going to sound when practicing at home in your own time. Okay, so here we go. So from the beginning, nice and slow, after 4. So 3, 4. I'm going to go slower than that, sorry. So 3, 4. No, my time is well out. Excuse me. We want to go this kind of speed. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And move across. Back again. And we move across. Okay, so that's that. Let's have a listen to the tune. I'll just bring it up on the screen so you can follow along. That's number 20. Okay, here we go. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, cool. So that is number 20, Little Brother. So it's not that long. It's quite repetitive, but there's quite a lot going on in it in that short space of time. Again, good to hear your feedback and see how you get on with it. But that's going to be a good place for us to finish up for today. It's actually half term next week around here, so we're going to take a week off. So maybe that's a good thing because, well, I don't know. You tell me. Is it easy? Is it hard? It might seem difficult to begin with. You might find you get it pretty quickly. Time will tell. So I look forward to hearing how you get on. So yeah, things to work on then over the next couple of weeks. So I think let's stick with number 18 as a bit of a warm up. We will go back over number 19, possibly a little discussion again about finding the notes on the the open string notes at the 5th fret and so on, just to go over that. And then obviously we've got number 20 as well. And I think that's pretty much it really. So one thing I'd like to do, which I've done in the previous Guitar Quest 1 and 2, is drop in another song that we, it's a more famous song. So what I was thinking of doing is having a go at La Bamba. Probably a song that you all know, and so something we'll have a play about with. I will send some music round for it, so please do make sure you're on the mailing list so you get a copy of it. You can see on the side of the screen there, you can sign up, or at least. Oh no, actually that's not the sign up bit. So, but if you go to the bit with the store where you can get hold of the books, if you get one of the books, then you get added to the mailing list. But otherwise, you can find links to my website, which will have the sign up as well. So, yeah, please do make sure you're on board for that. So I'll send that round. So the next one will be the 5th June, same time, 6:15 p.m. And so yeah, if you enjoyed the lesson, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it around if you know anybody that you think would be interested in learning. And if things are going well and you're feeling brave, then please feel free to record yourself playing them and tag me in it, and I'll let you know how it's going. So yeah, have a brilliant weekend and a great couple of weeks, and I will see you all in 2 weeks' time. Okay, so take care then, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.